2 minutes after, so let's keep going. We'll call the July meeting of the Redevelopment Commission to order. Let's do a roll call. Start with you.
Mike Hanna, present.
Dave Cravens, present.
Greg Campbell.
Lynn Mellinger.
Steve Denny.
We have a
Here.
quorum. Do we have any old business?
It's the minutes from,
That's it. So did everybody have a chance to see the minutes from the last meeting? It was the joint meeting with the RDC and the RDA.
yeah.
What was it, June
But then-
28th?
Yeah, it was May. I think it was May 4th.
That was close.
The-
Right on.
Yeah, the
Yeah, we
RDA
didn't have a
didn't
quorum
have
for
a
the
quorum,
RDA.
but Mike and Promac joined the party.
Right.
Yeah. They do have a meeting right after this. They still need to elect their officers. Go over the balance sheet for the 22 report.
Essentially what we did. was like, oh,
Right.
Everybody's had a chance to read the minutes. Do you have any questions or concerns? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes from the meeting that was passed. New business.
Technically old business or, okay. So I'm here to report on the Community Aquatic Center to give you an update and kind of let you know where we're at this point of the project. And Stephanie and Scott and I have been working with the stakeholder committee over the last year. The last 6 months, we've been focusing in on phase 1 of the project. And so, as you know, that we had assigned and awarded the contract work with Brad Skillman team, and he also has different engineers and as well as the sports facilities program in Florida that has been doing a lot of the work for us as far as the market opportunity report, which is our phase 1 of the project. So we've just completed that phase, and we got our initial draft of that report, and I don't know if you want to pull up a little bit of that, of the final version of it, but it was 2 parts. So it's a market opportunity report, and then the second part was different priority models. And those models were basically the focus in on priorities that we were looking for, different phase development for the project. So the first one was going to be the main indoor swimming pool, 50-meter competition pool, and then a diving feature, whether it was a separate diving well or a diving feature incorporated into the 50-meter pool. And then priorities 2 through 6 went from like the lazy river, a therapeutic pool, an outdoor recreational facility that was aquatic related. And then even the last priority is a non-aquatic, so it's kind of a multi-sport type use. So we're kind of going through that a little bit detail here in a few minutes though, but that report we had received, I would say probably around March. They were hoping to have that part and that document prepared for us for review by February. And then the 3 of us with Marissa Skaggs, the town council president, we took a look at that and made sure it was cohesive and compliant with what the requests were and are and priorities for the stakeholder committee. So the stakeholder committee, it comprises of representatives from the school, corporation. Aaron Burris, park director, he's here tonight. He's a part of that committee as well. And then we also have stakeholders from the community school systems. So we took a look at that, and then we asked them, just based on the input that we received from the group, to make some minor changes. And then we asked them to kind of reprioritize those models. So once they got that done, our group met twice. So we met on May the 23rd initially just to give a presentation of the draft version of the market opportunity report. And then we met again on June the 9th. And then from there, we gathered input that we wanted to relay to Brad Skillman and his team for our final version of that draft. So we met with the team on June the 22nd, and probably about a couple weeks ago, a week and a half ago, we received all the final versions of the document. So that phase one is complete. And these are kind of the priority models. We had priority 1A is the 50-meter pool with the diving well inside that pool. Priority 1B is a separate diving well to that 50-meter competition. Then priority 2, we went with the outdoor recreation, just to be able to give our community what they would not have if Brown Pool were to close. And priority 3, we went with the multi-purpose room and therapeutic pool. We felt like that we could work and partner with our community hospitals with developing programs that would be good for our community and nearby communities as well. And then, and it seemed to be in that model that there was a lot of revenue opportunity for that as well. And then the 4th, we went the lazy river, some of the outdoor aquatics. And then a part of our initial RFP, if you remember, there was not only just the indoor 50-meter competition that was desired by the community, but also an outdoor competition that was a 50-meter as well. We felt like that kind of dropped down. We looked at the numbers, and by seeing the numbers, we felt like that it was probably more realistic to focus on the indoor facility at this time, and something that might be another 20, 30 years out, we could be looking at the outdoor competition. There is, and it seems the reports do show that there's a lot of support for the USA Swimming world to bring in a lot of larger competitions. We've got the natatorium at IUPUI that houses a lot of those major competitions. They actually just hosted the USA Swimming Nationals this past weekend. And then next year in 2024, and as long as that goes well, in 2028, they're going, not the natatorium, but Lucas Oil is going to be hosting the Olympic trials. So that now is going to be in our state. And so we feel like that we can if we can have our pool up and going at that time, that hopefully we can be a good resource as far as workout, warming, just kind of preparation for those athletes to be able to have a pool outside of that facility that's going to be there at Lucas Oil. So we just kind of want to be able to, we've got a great local swim club, and they're growing, and they feel like that there's some opportunity there. So that would be priority 5. And then you'll see priority 6 is that multi-sport field and family center sports training facility. Those are, we put it at priority 6. The market opportunity report, you will see that it gives us feedback that multi-sport facility will help generate additional revenue to make the project more sustainable. We wanted to include that, but it wasn't our initial goal or priority going into this. So we still want to keep that as part of the project, so that way we kind of know what numbers that we have. But you'll see kind of a running total on the sheet there for each of those phases of development and those priorities. So for the indoor 50-meter pool with a separate diving well, priority 1B, and then phases 2 through 6, the total projection cost for this is hard and soft costs, everything from equipment to furniture to lane lines to diving blocks and so forth. It includes all the costs except for land acquisition. So for this, it would be most likely on town land, so we would not have that cost, but altogether it's about $121 million is what we're looking at. But the main, the meat of the report, the market opportunity report, besides those priority models, mainly what it did was it broke down some demographic population, income, and money spent on sports, aquatic and non-aquatic sports, what we can expect to see for the town of Pendleton, and then also the surrounding areas 10 miles to 240 miles out. This next section of that report is the sports within the region, looked at the local sports, so looked at aquatic facilities, provided us information on those, sports performance facilities, as well as family entertainment facilities. And it kind of went from Pendleton to kind of Fishers, a little bit of Muncie area, as well as the Indianapolis area. Then the third section of that market opportunity report was the facility program and opinion of cost. So what it did was, is you'll see that it first initially broke down what the square footage would be for each of those amenities within those priorities. And then taken from there, then it looked at what the cost would be per the square footage for each of those amenities. And then it took a look at the business models. They provided a couple main business models. One was the sports tourism model, and the second was a business model. The sports tourism was relying mainly on gaining revenue from outside sources. So mainly from rentals or tournaments or events coming in. Then the business model was based on more local programming. So it could be swim lessons, it could be therapeutic, it could be water aerobics. So it looked at that type of opportunity for revenue. What their recommendation was a mixed model of the two. They felt like that seemed to be most fitting for our area. And then it gave us financial performance expectations. What it mainly did is it just focused on priority one and gave us a projection as far as what we could expect for low, medium, and high revenue gain for that. So just for the indoor with the diving inside that indoor pool, it went from a low revenue expectation of $363,000 a year up to a little bit over $1 million a year. That's just in gross revenue. Then net wise on the low end would be a loss of $272,000. At best would be breaking even. So that's what they kind of wanted us to take a look at that. Rowdy kind of hit there for us. And I think that was one of the other reasons of then going into the next phase and really diving deep into the program opportunities, and then also what would be a better blend of mix of those priorities to make us sustainable. And then the other pieces is it provided some potential resources and sources for income. There was some information that's provided in the report as far as that private loan, public-private partnership, public-public partnership. There's opportunity zones, which that was something new to me, that it's something that has become very popular statewide in certain areas that are in need to be able to service those in lower income areas. So it's some funding opportunities that we're excited to learn about. And then also just some developmental rights, naming rights and so forth. So as far as the next steps, and we feel that the market opportunity report gave us what we were looking for to be able to make a decision in whether or not moving on to the feasibility stage, which is phase two. Phase two will provide us a detailed financial analysis, feasibility, and economic impact. So in that, they'll provide us a pro forma document, a summary of all the financial forecasts, and they're going to break it down between years 1 through 5, years 6 through 10, and then years 11 through 20. So as it goes, it'll get a little bit more general, but that very first year, years 1 through 5 will be just getting up off the ground, getting things going, and getting a cash flow set in place for us. But and then as far as those priority models, they're going to take a deeper look into each one of those. And instead of just providing what the projection of revenue and expenses and net income for just priority one, they would also look at those for each of the other priorities. So then that way we can decide that if we can only attack and focus on priority one first, that's great. I think that meets the main need of our community. But if we can add on to other pieces to that, it'd be good to have that information. They're also going to provide us economic impacts, so letting us know, what needs or benefits it can provide to our area as far as hotels, restaurants, and so forth, what numbers can pull in for them. And then go into more of the funding options, working with us with discussing some capital campaigns, sponsorships, donations. Because it's gonna, it's gonna be a big project to take on. And, I'm very pleased with the committee. They've been very loyal and committed to this project, and they don't want to see it put up on the shelf. And we are excited to work with them just to be able to explore everything. So then that way we can make good educated decisions going forward. We met, they agreed that they would like to get your blessing to move on to the phase 2, which is the feasibility report. We did provide, just because they had asked us if we could, we did provide a notice to proceed on that. So we would like to be able to move forward on that. That phase is expected to be about a 10 to 12 week timeframe to be able to get the deliverables for that.
Excuse me, Denise.
Yep.
The aquatic committee
Mhm.
asked for our blessing, or Skillman asked for our blessing?
Well, the aquatics committee, they would like to move on to that phase. Brad Skillman, they are on board. They're ready to go.
What do they need from us or want?
Well, so
Aside from a blessing.
yep. As I say, phase 2 portion, it is 26,500. We would like to request RDC to be able to utilize the funds from RDC for that, to cover the cost of that project. But yes, we're coming on behalf of the stakeholder committee that requesting that and to be able to move forward. That's a lot of information, sorry. But do you have any questions about any of the
It's all on the
parts and
Google Doc.
pieces? It's all on Google Drive. If you'd like,
The slide that showed the dollar amount.
we gave them copies too. Yeah.
So, my comments real quick, that 68,000, when we started looking at this, that was before all this inflation and stuff hit with construction. That was between 25 and 37. So that's how much it dropped since we started. Just that first one.
All of these costs, 121, 133, that's including
That's
all-
everything.
everything from
Hard,
Skillman and all the
yes.
other contractors under Skillman.
Mhm. Yes.
Soft
Yes.
costs.
Yes, it is. All the hard and soft costs.
Looking through it, that's not as bad as I thought. I was kind of adding things up in my mind. The 2 lazy rivers threw me, and I thought, why do we need 2? It threw 2
Well,
up
the
in
next
it.
Oh.
phase is to tell us if it can pay for it.
So
So
the
there'd be enough revenue.
phase 2, that they would like RDC to pay for it, right?
There
So-
is
so
only,
the committee's not asking to, they just want to go to the next phase. To be honest, I was hesitant to do the next phase, but my curiosity's gotten the better of me. They claim that there's a way to pay for this, but I'd like to see. I'm skeptical on the town's bonding capacity, even if this is a joint project with the school. Even with the school and the town put together, I don't know if bonding capacity would work, but let's look at it and, at a minimum, we owe the community, if the decision is no to not move forward, then we have to show why we didn't move forward. Without phase 2, I don't know how, finishing the study out, I don't know how we. So my personal opinion, if there is a path to do this, I would be skeptical. And I don't think the community is of the size, is of the size to be able to handle this time, but eventually we may be, and this lease lays out a path that's possible, maybe not today, but tomorrow.
I do want to clarify, there is just one lazy river. Phase 2 is
Right.
outdoor recreation. That's
And
just
then
more like play
on the Google
area.
Docs, they had two.
Oh,
They
okay.
showed two examples of lazy rivers. And I thought, why?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it should just be like the one that was just an additional
say, I-
piece that they
I
feel
could save
like
us
that
3
draws
mil.
in.
We'll just get rid of one of those.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Question, in the end, how much money just for looking into if we can do this? What are we looking at?
The
Through,
total was gonna be.
For
what
everything.
We've paid
all-
already and then what the additional 26.
Okay, so you're talking about just for the scope. Okay. So yeah, that was, I believe, right at like 50 numbers here. We've got, oh, I must have an outdated number. Sorry, I don't have the.
do we just have a ballpark figure
Are you talking about both these two?
for the scope of?
Phase
this-
1 and phase 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the old one.
18.5.
I think it was 18, yeah, we're
Okay.
around about 40, 50,000.
Okay,
Yes.
and then I like the presentation and I've looked over this and everything, but even Scott said it's skeptical that we could even fund this. So I know in the scope of things, 50-some thousand dollars doesn't seem like a lot of money, but it is when we're thinking that already that we wouldn't be able to fund it or even afford it. That's just my question.
No, I think it's a
So
good question.
so if you did phase 2, so you know you want to be here, we're here, this is what it's going to take to get here. Could you do certain phases and as the town grows, add other phases in?
Yes,
as
Yes.
the
exactly.
tax increments grow
Yes.
and your
That's
tip stuff
exactly
grows?
right.
Yes. And we made it,
The first phase would be the hardest phase.
Yeah.
Because-
the initial cost of everything and not knowing the construction is still going to
Right.
level
Not
off.
knowing how inflation is gonna work, how construction inflation, which is different than regular inflation right now. Construction inflation.
I think the only way you're going to find out is do the study. That way you know where you're at and what you need to do to get there.
Yeah, and it also leaves open the question if, of the three things that could happen is if we just stop where we're at, or we delay, or move forward. There's three options. Two of them we have to talk about the existing rules. Two of them require us to. Ground pool open, nice little back here. And even if we move forward, we're looking at 3-year time period, so even then. Those pools gotta stay open for ground pool purposes. Maybe 3.
So we understand this, it's the committee asking us simply to fund phase 2.
phase 2.
Phase 1 has already been funded.
Yes, yeah.
That's what- just gave you a brief
So we're looking at 26.5.
Yes, that is correct.
So we've already funded 45% of it already.
And Brad Skillman's team, they are fully aware that this is going to be in steps. Definitely, we really stress that this is going to be a phased
Sure.
project at best. And
Plus we got a really good donor. Tim.
And they've indicated that they would work with us to, find if there's some creative ways that we can, find funding and partner. We also have some things with connections here locally with USA Swimming. When those USA Swimming competitions come in, that we may be able to find opportunity to get some of those pools, those temporary pools that they've got to tear down and they need to find homes for. And there's some funding there as well. When they raise money, they give to a local community. So there's things that, we definitely
What they're talking about.
want to
is when
explore.
they Put a temporary pool for the national level Olympic trials.
Olympic
that sort of thing. Lucas Oil Stadium. but then they tear it down. What do they do with that framing? So they try to- That's Tyler.
Would be Dot
Dot
Technology.
Technologies.
They have a relationship with them since the 90s.
Right.
So they, but that's not sure thing.
Be a good first step. though. Olympic-
Yeah.
Olympic
Yeah,
pool.
Yeah, well, it's 250-meter pools that they do for those Olympic trials, so they'll find homes for that. And they say you can reconfigure as well. They could work with the community, so just, possibilities.
Get fast moving.
Phase 2 was 10 to 12 weeks. is that
10 to
what you
12
said?
weeks, that's correct. Mhm.
Why not?
Yes.
Bill?
Yeah, I know.
Why
I
not?
know.
Absolutely.
Is this gonna be, if built, would that be part of the park system?
Yes.
When we've had our FDIC fire convention in Annapolis, they've come and we've had firefighters from all over the world use our training center on Martin Luther King. And even the training center, Fisher's Fire Department and even IFD, they didn't have training centers. They actually come down here and use our training center when we're not even their district. So when there's opportunity, especially the 69 corridor.
And that's come up quite a bit in our location. We do have a good location.
All right. Any other questions on this?
I have to go to another event. Got a question for town manager. Yes, vacation.
We need to do gators.
You got the money. You could already say goodbye to Gator if they want.
Would that be a conflict of interest?
You just use it for town watering.
Have fun.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Scott.
Seems so.
If we don't have any other questions about this, do we have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion.
Pay for the phase 2?
I'll make a motion to pay for phase 2.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Steve seconds. All in favor of paying for phase 2 for this, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passed. Congratulations. Thank you all. Very good. All right. Park
My turn?
Board. Richard.
Good evening. Stephanie's going to pull up this presentation, but I have hard copies if anyone would like a hard copy. And I believe it's on your Google Drive if that's easier for you. So if you want a hard copy, just let me know. My name's Aaron Burris. I am the director at Falls Park. Brian Williams, our park board president, is also here. And we would like to speak with you this evening about a recent land acquisition. So 2 weeks ago, we were able to close on a 38-acre parcel that's located between the current sports complex and State Road 67. It was in the estate of Dr. Begley. And so we worked with the heirs of that estate to make this dream come to a reality. I started as a director 5 years ago, and since that time, this parcel has been our top priority. Our dream was to own this land and integrate it into the park system. So the hard part's done, I feel like. We have the land. As part of our master plan, land acquisition is the top priority. With our community growing by the day, it feels we are quickly running out of space to service our community members. Our youth leagues are running at near capacity. Soccer has far outgrown its space within the park. They are looking for a new home, and we would love to keep them within the park. So by having this land, it gives us just another tool to try to make that happen. The future for this site is still yet to be determined. We will obviously take a ton of community input as far as what they would like to see there, whether that is the expansion or creation of a multi-use field space, an amphitheater, splash pad, all of the above. We just don't know, but something great will be there. And the one piece that we do know we will create is the connectivity from the eastern boundary of Pendleton all the way to downtown through trails. Won't have to get on the road from 67 to downtown. You can take trails to get there. So the South Madison Community Foundation also holds just over 16 acres that, can we go back to the map? That are along this, the bottom half of the red line. If you can kind of see in the top right corner where the ball fields are, it runs in a straight line from that drive back and matches up with this northern boundary line there, as well as a small strip, correct, yep, right there. That totals about 16 and a half acres that they have earmarked to be used for safe access for pedestrians to the park or downtown area. So we have a fantastic working relationship with the foundation and have no doubts that we will be able to use this land to further expand this purchase. So the land as it currently sits is being farmed and will continue to be farmed until the time that we're ready to develop. We will see some revenue from the farming, but pennies on the dollar. So not much. I think this year it's just under $10,000 for the year. So we purchased the land for $760,000, $20,000 an acre. We used existing bond proceeds to make the down payment, which was $500,000. And we'll be paying the remaining $260,000 over the next 3 years in semi-annual installments. So we're here tonight to see if there is any support in funding the remaining balance of this purchase. This piece of property is going to be around forever. This will be a legacy project for Pendleton. Does anyone have any questions?
Are you asking for the full 260 or part of that?
We will take whatever you want to give us. Every little bit helps. Every bit we can save now, we can funnel directly into design, engineering, planning of this new space. So whatever we can save off of that 260 will go directly into that account that's paying for that. So the sooner we get it paid off, the sooner we can get all of the paperwork done and we can start moving dirt.
Have you asked other organizations, entities?
We are working with the DNR on a land and water grant. That's about a year process and you need matching funds to begin that. So since we've already made the initial purchase, those matching funds would come in the form of the donation off of the appraised value for the property that we received by purchasing it. So in short, the DNR can't fund the purchase anymore, but they can fund the development. So, but as far as reaching out, we've spoken with the Community Foundation and they have a couple funds that they're going to present to about helping with the remaining purchase price, but we have not heard back from them on that.
I think it's a great idea. My concern is last time I've seen the budget, with the revenues, we was in the red until 2024. And then the infrastructure improvements on 67 with the medians and the lights, we wasn't digging into that until we knew sure we could fund, am I thinking right? That we could fund those improvements that's coming from IDOT on 67. And so it's all been taken care of. Okay.
You know, 67, so we essentially got all of our money back.
I mean, I'm open to any ideas, suggestions, to make sure the actual funds there to commit. We did any certain levels.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe we have 600,000 some.
I hadn't seen the report.
Absolutely.
One of the things we can do financially is pass this along to Baker Tilly, our financial advisors, and let them plug that into the spreadsheets that they provide us. Aaron, I assume the 260 needs to be paid in 3 years. Does that include any interest payments or things like that?
Not include the 7% interest.
7%? Okay.
Yes.
Well, Commission, that would be my recommendation is, I don't think anybody necessarily is against this, but Baker Tilly should be able to plug this into a spreadsheet really quickly and let us know how much, if any, we could give toward the project and how much it'll hurt and how much that would hurt our liquidity as a commission going forward to fund other projects. But, that would just be my recommendation. They'd probably get this back to us certainly by our next meeting.
If I could just say a couple of words.
Yes,
Brian
please do.
Williams, President of the Park Board. Just by way of background, as Aaron said, he's been around for several years. I've been on the Park Board now, I think for 9 years. This property has always been, since I've been on the board, let's get that property if we ever can, always been a top priority. When the listing expired, had the first offer that fell through, the listing expired. We had an executive session. I just want to give you some of the background of where the Park Board, how we landed on this. Park Board had an executive session, talked about what we would be comfortable with. Brian Slick and Aaron went through all of our budget, our numbers, our bonding capacity. We just kind of got a general sense for everybody in the room. I then approached the attorney for the estate, told him that we might be interested. I didn't think we would be able to afford the appraised amount. The two appraisals came back at very similar to each other and just over $1 million a piece for the property. We had yet another executive session. We all agreed that there's no way we could do that. The number of 760 that was ultimately the purchase price is the number that the park can do this on its own. That's what I wanted to be clear, as I didn't want the community or anybody here to think that we overextended ourselves and now we can do it. We sure appreciate the help, but the way we landed on the 760 is that's a number that everybody on the park board was comfortable with given our situation. As you guys recall, the foundation was instrumental in helping us get the Pets and Vet property. We couldn't have done it without their help. That was a pretty big win for the park, getting that property. And we met with the foundation multiple times about this purchase. I expect they're going to help, but right now we just don't know what that is, what that's going to look like. But the park board unanimously voted for this. That was never a question of, it certainly wasn't a split decision or anything. Once we were comfortable with the numbers, we had to vote. So I just wanted to be clear that we can do this on our own, but certainly we're here to ask for your help. We're talking to the foundation, we're reaching out to the community. So anything you could do, as Aaron said, would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks.
I personally, I think this is a good fit. I'm a little shocked that we have allowed some properties to slip through our fingers as a town purchase through us. I think we should purchase it. We should help purchase this one. As Aaron said, it's a legacy project. With the forecast of 20,000 people living at the pound. So I'm all for this. I think Jeff's suggestion is a very good one from a fiscal standpoint, fiscal responsible standpoint of plugging, having Baker Tilly plug it in and see see what that's gonna do to us, but I'm all for this as much as we can afford.
Hey, Jeff, do we need to take a vote on this tonight, or we just, as you advised, get the Baker Tilly study going?
The commission could take a vote of interest on it or not, or wait till it sees the numbers. You don't necessarily have to vote to send it to Baker Tilly. If you direct me to do it, I will do it. And get those numbers in front of us and make that decision. But Steve, to answer your question, no, we don't need to vote tonight.
In the presentation under future, where it says sports complex expansion, amphitheater, splash pad, connectivity. I just feel like there was something missing.
There is this, I forgot to put the zip line in.
I
did.
The dream is still
I
alive.
forgot to put the zip line in. You are correct.
It'll be a zip line from 67 all the way to 10.
Yeah.
Yes.
Biggest zip line in the world.
All the way to the stable.
Yes. And you just let go, and there'll be a big soft padded pillow. The dream is still alive. That's what I want to know. All right.
If we get to choose here from the commission, I want to make damn sure there's a lacrosse field there.
Yeah.
As we
Absolutely
spoke of
accommodate that.
before, being an excellent lacrosse player. All right, any other comments, questions? Mike, anybody? Are we okay with having Jeff move forward with Baker Tilly and see what comes up on this?
Absolutely. I mean, as much as the RDC can help.
This is our job. It's
Yeah.
purchasing for the town. So let's move forward with this. Jeff, if you would, please. Move forward with Baker Tilly. And let's see where this goes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Eric.
Thank you very much.
We will
Thanks, Aaron.
keep you all posted. Brian?
Thank you.
Thanks,
all
Brian.
very much.
Keep you all posted. Do we have anything else on the agenda?
Says the 2022 RDC annual.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
there's the annual report. Let's see.
That's just signing things. Isn't it?
Yeah, and then the RDO, we got it next. This-
Hmm. That's 2022.
Yeah, so
Right.
that was.
Where
here's
that,
The
Retro.
report that Karen does in the spring, I think she has to have it done by April 1st of each year, and she gets it done usually by the end of February, so she's awesome. So yeah, she did file this with the Department of Local Government, and this report is reflective of the money in, the money out, in RDC's budget, which includes the bond monies and so forth, and it's reflected for the year 2022. Need that reviewed and approved and then signed by the commission. Kind of breaks it down as far as the TIF revenues. Grant funds, actually was asking Scott, we were going to ask grant funds where memory is fading. I wish I would have caught that on the report. Karen gave to us this afternoon to ask her. I don't know if it's revolving loan fund or what grant those funds came in, how they're designated different than the bond revenue. So that's why I don't know if it's just termed as grant, but it's actually the bond revenues versus the TIF dollars. We can find that out.
really didn't put any numbers on the revolving loan thing, so.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking we really didn't work that. And then we do have some farm ground rent there at the cemetery. And then also Creek Ride. But then we showed here the payments that went out for the expenses for the year, including the Madison County Tennis and Wellness Center there, attorney fees, bond, economic development. We have agreement with the Anderson Corporation Economic Development. CDM Smith is the contractor for our US 36 project. So any of the work that done there, engineer work and so forth there. And I think there's a second page to that. There's some additional expenses there. Skillman Corporation was that $92.50 that was paid out last year for their services on the aquatics program. We had some banning engineering and then some engineering. So year in, ending balance was $936,000. Yeah. Mhm.
Very good. Questions about this, comments?
Jeff, do they need to do a formal vote on that and then just signed by Craig Campbell?
Yes.
All right, do I have a motion to accept the report as presented?
Motion. Oh, motion. I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passed. Anything else? Personal note, hey Jeff.
Yes,
Yep.
sir. Yes, sir.
How do I get my Indians tickets tomorrow night?
We'll email them to you in the morning.
Cool, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for doing that too. That was very nice of
Well,
you. All right. Do you have anything else to discuss? Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion?
Second. Any opposed? So, meeting adjourned. Thank you all very much.